canopy in this area. And then I'm going to break up these edges because I don't want these clusters to look like perfect blobs. If I put a couple along the edge, it will break up that blobby feel to it. Like some of these look like a kidney bean. I don't want that to look like that. So just putting a couple along the tree line there will break that up so it looks a little more natural. And now that we've kind of done the taiga, we can kind of move our way inward towards a more temperate forest. So we'll go ahead and move over to this shaded pine just to show some transition. And we'll continue on these shaded pines down here into this forest just to kind of show a transition. I'll connect them into the ones down here, connect into this one. And then I can go ahead and kind of create those bean shapes, remember? Like this. And then the further down I go, I'll start creating a really, really dense forest like this. So let's create a dense part. One right here, one right here. There we go. And then I can go in and fill it. And there's a area option up here. It's called size area. If you look up here at the top, you'll see I can fill the area. Now there is a pitfall to this, but it's pretty easy to use, but you just kind of go over it like this. And then you'll be able to place many at once. Like this. So this is really the most easiest way to kind of create the forests, is just using that technique, and then go back to area 1 and then break up that tree line, because you don't want the blobby straight lines along that tree line. You want to break it up. So just kind of place along each edge here. There you go. Breaks it up a little bit. And because we're now in a different forest, we can also throw in some more diversity. So we can go in and throw in some other trees as well, like this deciduous one. And we'll just kind of throw them in here where I can kind of fit them along this edges in here. Put some up here a little bit. And then put a lot more further down that we go. Kind of go down here. This is a pretty big forest. But you got to have one giant forest in your world, right? Like this is where like maybe your elves would live, perhaps, or tieflings, or whatever it might be. Okay, there we go. Now we have these nice thick forests that you have here. There we go. We'll go ahead and quickly save it. Any stamp, so that option for the area only works with stamps, I believe, that are stamp sets. I'm not so sure that they work with like a single stamp, but I know for sure that they work with, they specifically work with, brain for it, work with a stamp set. So individually, I'm not so sure that would work. Okay, so one thing I do want to mention is that you can also control using object shadows to kind of paint stamps. So let's say that I want to show that instead of painting green all over this forest, so to show that it's green or whatever color I want it to be, I can use object shadows. So if you just select all the stamps that you want to change, and if you go over to object shadow, so shadows here, go to object shadow or custom object shadow, you see there's a black shadow there, but I can also go in and just like maybe like pick a green color that I want, maybe like a dark kind of green color like this. And then what that does is it paints it that nice green, and I don't have to paint with multiple textures. So that's very helpful. So it's very, very nice to do that. You can do the same thing, like maybe I want to select all these, go back to shadow, custom object shadow, and maybe I want to use a white type of shadow to kind of show that there's snow, that there's a little bit of mist or fog going on. So you can use object shadows to your advantage to do painting, especially with this parchment style, because it's just a lot easier than having to pick multiple textures and layer them all together. This is kind of a quick cheat that you can kind of do. Just know that I think that if you do this with like every stamp, let's say that you have like 1 billion trees or a large number of trees and you're using object shadows, it will likely going to lag a little bit on your machine. Remember, we're an online tool. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're placing trees. I think we're going to go ahead and do the next one. I think you get the general idea on how that works. You can also do some cool tricks. For instance, I can select like this one tree right here and then go select all stamps like this. And then I can go in and then I can go back to shadow, go to custom object shadow, do it again, and then make that a darker kind of green. Let's see if I can find it. A little bit of a darker green in there, or maybe a lighter green would be better. Let's take a look. I'm not sure. I might have accidentally selected every single one. Let's try this one. Select all stamps like this. There we go. It should select all of them just like that. And then we can go back to custom object shadow. I'm not sure if I want to use a darker color or a lighter color. I'm not sure. Let's bring the blur down a little bit. There we go. That way I can get some variety here. There we go. Getting a little more variety. Go with a dark color. There we go. And by selecting one in a set and then selecting all just like that, you can edit every single tree that's just like that, not from the set, but that individual tree. And then you can edit that, and now you have a little bit more diversity in your trees. You notice how some of them are a darker green, some of them are a lighter green. That's all very, very helpful. And some of them are kind of this brownish color. Now you have this diversity. And remember, temperate rainforests or temperate forests have the most diversity. So we have light green, dark green, brown trees. All of that is very, very helpful.